Welcome to the Lockshield Partners Podcast. We believe in financial literacy and love to provide quality information when it comes to areas around financial planning and how it impacts your life. To learn more about what we do and how we serve our clients, visit us at lockshieldpartners.com.
Dan, welcome back to the Lockshield Partners Podcast. We've got a follow-up today on Social Security. So we've had a previous episode on Social Security.
That's right.
We thought it'd be good to follow up with a little bit more on that. Today, we're going to dive into Social Security widows benefits.
Right. Technically, survivors benefits, they're commonly referred to as widows benefits because statistically speaking, according to the Social Security Department, Social Security Administration, 95% of survivor recipients are women.
Wow.
Which should tell us something. So that's why they've always been known as widows benefits, but survivors benefits. And interestingly enough, when you pay into Social Security through your payroll, you're paying for your retirement benefit, but you're also paying for a lot of other insurance programs, disability being one, spousal benefits, survivors benefits, as well as spousal retirement benefits. Your spouse, if they never worked outside of the home or if they had a smaller benefit than half of your benefit, they would draw half of your benefit, assuming you drew at the same age.
Yeah.
But there's also minor children and even some dependent parents. But today we're really going to focus on surviving spouse. So let's talk about some terminology.
Yeah. Let's start there.
Tell me about the Social Security phrase full retirement age.
Yeah. You may see the acronym FRA. That's a pretty common way for that to be discussed, Dan, but that's age 67. So full retirement age is 67. All that means, that is the point in which you can receive Social Security benefits and not have any sort of cap or penalty on earned income. You go make as much money as you want and still receive your Social Security benefit.
Got it.
That's your full retirement age.
Got it. And that's earned income. That's not pension,
IRA
interest
distributions,
income, IRA.
whatever.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah.
Delayed retirement credits, DRCs, as the Social Security Administration refers to it.
Yeah, the big DRCs. So every year that you decide to wait beyond your full retirement age, you get a little bit of an increase.
Pretty significant increase.
Not a little bit, yeah. 8% per year is the amount. And it's actually broken down on a monthly basis.
You don't have to wait the whole year.
Right. So if you decided to retire at or receive benefits at 67 in 6 months, you would still get 6 months of delayed retirement credits. So which is a big deal.
That can be substantial.
That can make a difference.
Throw a COLA on top of that, and you're at a 10, 11, 12% federal guaranteed return, permanent return, which is pretty good. And one nook and cranny, that is only on your own benefits.
Right.
Survivor benefits do not receive delayed retirement credits.
Right.
So there's a situation where if you're going to draw off your surviving spouse, deceased spouse, if you're drawing survivor benefits, there's no benefit of waiting beyond your full
67.
retirement.
Right.
So the opposite of delayed retirement credits is going to be the benefit reduction.
Yeah, the dreaded benefit reduction. So essentially, Dan, what this is if someone decides to retire earlier than their full retirement age, there's a permanent decrease.
And I might draw the distinction of if they decide to draw benefits.
Yes.
Because you could, in theory, retire and not draw Social Security.
Absolutely.
There's some situations where, from a planning point of view,
sure. Happens a lot. Yeah, happens a lot. So for someone who receives benefits prior to their full retirement age, there's a roughly 5 to 6% annual decrease every year.
Permanent.
Somebody receives benefits at age 62, they would get 70% of what they would get at age 67.
Yeah. They'd get the benefit of drawing longer.
But it's a lot less.
And as we've talked about before, the math, the crossover, somewhere in your late 70s, around 80 is when that math, which that may or may not be the right way to approach when to draw, but it's what most people think of.
Sometimes the thought process is how can I maximize the amount that I get out of Social Security?
Right. Good.
So Dan, upon the death of the first spouse,
yeah,
what happens for the surviving spouse?
So let's assume you have two spouses who are both drawing Social Security. And let's take a typical couple where you had one spouse who earned at a higher level than the other spouse. So let's say you had one spouse who was drawing 2,500 a month and one drawing 1,500 a month.
Okay.
Upon the death of the first spouse, and it doesn't matter which one, um, the surviving spouse would continue to draw the higher amount. So they would continue to draw 2,500, which sounds good, but from a budget point of view, if you go from
That's $18,000 a year.
that's right, that's going from 4,000 a month to 2,500 a month. That's real money.
Yeah.
That's your automatic deposits.
It's a third lower.
That's a third lower, and that really should be taken into consideration in the thought process of when do I begin to draw, and whose benefit do I begin to draw, and when do I do it?
Yeah. I think we touched on this some in our previous one of our previous episodes. Make sure to check that out. By the way, our Social Security basics. But you had commented, Dan, that for the spouse with the higher benefit, really it's better for them to delay that one as long as they can.
Yeah, from a planning point of view, and we don't know how long you're going to live. This is a not a one size fits all answer as to when do I start drawing Social Security. We're big fans of if you have investment assets and the investments are performing well, like they happen to be the last several years, you may be better off drawing from your at risk assets for your monthly income and allowing, especially that higher benefit amount, to continue to grow and defer. Knowing at any point I can come and push that ATM button and start that monthly Social Security deposit.
Nice to have that in your back pocket.
It's very nice. It also helps protect the surviving spouse, most likely the woman, according to the data, so that rather than getting, in our hypothetical scenario, 2,500 a month, maybe that's 3,000 or 3,200 or whatever it might be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Dan, when to begin benefits?
Sure. Yeah. So technically, survivors benefits, you can begin at 60. So the Social Security normal benefits are 62, but Social Security recognizes there may be a situation with a widow where they have to begin drawing early, so they say 60.
Okay.
You still get reduced benefits, substantially reduced benefits.
But the option's there.
But the option's there. You are still going back to you talked about the earnings limit. You still have to play by the earnings limit because you're under the FRA, full retirement age. And this is a scenario where, from a financial point of view, it really needs to be done in the context of the big picture.
Of the overall plan.
Number one, does it make sense to stop working and producing income versus continue to work and add to 401ks or Roth IRAs and defer these things, which for people who retire, who squeeze into retirement without a lot of margin, that really doesn't show up financially until you're 5 years, a decade down the road.
Right.
And then the tightness begins to get felt.
They feel that pressure.
They feel that pressure. And then it's much harder at 70 or 75 or 80 to do something about it than if I worked another 2 years or 3 years.
Sure.
That's a tough, there's a lot of factors that go into that. But you can begin at 60. The same rules apply. The one thing to be aware of from a planning point of view is whose benefit you draw off of. So a surviving spouse has a special rule. This used to be for everyone, but now several years ago, they eliminated certain provisions of Social Security. So a situation may be where my spouse has died. If I'm, let's say, 62, I can draw their benefit, even if it's lower than my benefit, and defer my benefit up until the age of 70, and then switch over to my benefit at any time, really. But the idea would be deferred as long as I can.
So let's just recap that
Yep.
here, maybe as we get close to a close. So we have a widow who is 60 years old.
Okay.
Her husband has passed away. She can receive her husband's benefit. her deceased husband's benefits starting at 60
if she wants
if
to.
she wants to.
Right.
That's the earliest she could.
Correct.
And she could receive that for potentially 10 years
10 years.
and then say, hey, you know what? I'm going to now start receiving my benefit, which I let cook, and get that guaranteed 8% delayed retirement credit that we talked about.
That's exactly right. So that's something to be aware of, because at age 60, let's just say her benefit may have been $300 more than his, just hypothetically. And so on the surface, you may say, well, you should draw 1,300, not the 1,000, or you could draw 1,000 now and let that 1,300 cook and grow until full retirement age, and then start receiving, I'm not sure what the math is, but let's just say $2,000 or $2,100, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the important thing is to know your options. And the Social Security office, the local one here in Bowling Green, Kentucky, is very helpful. We love going down to the Social Security office and sitting across the desk from somebody with our clients and having these discussions and getting the numbers so they can make the right decision based on their financial situation.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to close.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest piece of advice I would throw out with Social Security is don't rush into it.
Yeah.
Don't go into it emotionally.
An informed decision.
Make an informed decision. If you're someone who has gone through a recent death of a spouse, make sure to speak about this decision with your advisor or accountant or a trusted friend or your children or somebody
Right.
to really help guide you, because there's really not a do-over when it comes to Social Security.
That's right, Clark. And what might be right for your sister or your friend or your brother may not be right for your situation.
Yeah.
So at least having the facts, making an informed decision within the context of an overall plan
Right.
would be the right way to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Dan, thank you for guiding us through Social Security survivorship benefits. And to our listeners, if you have any questions, please make sure to check us out at lockshieldpartners.com.